Let me take you back to 2016. A little game release called Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. It ended up being one of the most popular and lucrative Dragon Ball games of all time, still receiving DLC to this day. I think it's time to let it go,
we have to teach you this lesson, old man.
I love the young people.
But honestly, this game cemented itself into anime history. Not only did it have a ton of content with more coming frequently, but this game was so immersive, allowing you to make your own character. With a group of friends and a little bit of imagination, you're able to set up your own multi-year long Dragon Ball fan fiction. Most importantly, this game was fun. I can remember so many times where my friends and I took on parallel quests or expert missions and just had a grand old time. But with all that being said, what if we use this format for another series? Like, what if we could have this same Xenoverse experience, but in One Piece, or Bleach, or how about Naruto? And I feel like this was the mindset throughout the time. Like, most people who enjoyed Xenoverse probably liked one of the big three shows, so naturally it was pretty easy to ponder. What would a game look like in these three franchises? So that brings us to the supposed answer, Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. The game that had the potential to rival the behemoth that was Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2. But before we keep going, how about you subscribe to unlock a secret ninjutsu? And if you really like me, check out the second channel that one of my clones run. We do a bunch of fun stuff over there too. Okay, let's keep this going. So in 2018, Bandai Namco was on a roll. I think this year was one of the best years for anime games in general. So many things came out that year, along with the hype of Jump Force. That is another whole can of worms that I'll maybe get into when I'm mentally ready to handle it. Shinobi Striker's hype was no, stop, no!
It's still massive.
And I feel like almost everyone in my friend group was playing it. Like, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. So in 2018, the game was finally released. So let's pause right here for a second because there's a little bit of context I want to get into before we start talking about the game. So I played the beta for this game, and I do have very ancient footage of me and my friends playing, but it was fun. The beta was pretty limited, only allowing you to choose from 4 classes with preset moves, but honestly, it was enough to showcase the game. So when I purchased the game for full price on release, and then I realized nothing changed in the lobby from the beta and everything is exactly the same, I was honestly pretty confused. Because it seemed like they were going to expand on the areas that are blocked off with the gates, but no. As long as the game has been out, there hasn't been any sort of expansions with the hub at all. And I think that's pretty indicative on how the game ended up in current day. Okay, let's start with the game's controls because I feel like that's the most important thing when you're talking about playing a game. So this game is actually pretty simple. X and Y are your light and heavy attacks, pretty standard for most anime games. B is your kunai / ninja tools, and RB and LB are ninjutsu 1 and 2. LT and RT are for blocking and deflecting, and that's pretty much it. You got the game down. I think this game is pretty simple to pick up, but being good at it actually takes some thinking. This game allows you to customize your ninja to your liking, which is one of the main selling points of the game. You can get ninjutsu that look cool, or you can get some that are easily insertable to combos. Honestly, this is so cool, and even playing this game in the grand year of 2025, it's still amazing. I feel like allowing the community to create weird amalgamation of jutsu presets really gets the player base active. It's something so simple, but when you're playing with friends and they have a new jutsu you haven't seen before, or a combo that takes a ton of health, it all adds to the game's sense of community. On top of the jutsus, you're able to add different weapons to your ninja, which completely changes the fighting style. I think with this and the different jutsus, it allows the game to constantly feel like you're able to craft a new moveset from basically nothing. I think that's pretty much it for the actual mechanics of the game, so now let's get into how they're actually applied. So there are missions in the online multiplayer. The missions act like a story mode because some of them actually have cutscenes sprinkled in. These aren't too bad honestly, they mostly consist of huge boss battle fights, scroll collecting, and protecting the village gates. Those are the worst. Especially on solo mode where you have to get the gates by yourself, and then if you let a gate get destroyed, it all starts all the way from the beginning, so you have to start from wave 1, round 1. Ah! The gate missions are a joke and I honestly hate them. I'm not even sure if you get anything for completing all the missions, and I don't really care to find out. For the multiplayer, you have combat battle, base battle, capture the flag, and barrier battle. There's only 2 for that matter that I was actually able to play, which was combat and base battle. Getting into my first match with this game after like 3 or 4 years made me feel like I was washed. There's so many new jutsus in the game that do tons of shit that I'm not even familiar with, while I still have the jutsu from launch in Season Pass 1. Don't even worry about it, I still put belt to ass. There's not even much to say about the different game modes, but if I had to choose a favorite, I think base battle feels the best. You won't be huddled up around one area fighting, there's incentive for moving around the map. Combat battle is a close second because that's where hands just come out. If you're really about that shit, pop out. Pop out, because we die about this nonsense. We die about this stuff. If not, stay in the other game modes. Don't even come to combat battle. Don't come to combat battle. Being able to get into matches, they were genuinely fun to play, but I think the big thing for me was the balancing in DLC. Most people who kept up with the game probably have all the meta DLC with the OP ninja weapons along with it. And there's nothing wrong with spending money on the game if you have it, but if you don't have any DLC, most of these jutsus that are in the base game are good, but they don't hold a candle to most of the stuff you have to pay for. So let's talk about the DLC, because this game got 41 DLC characters. And that's probably nothing compared to Xenoverse, but at the same time, that's a lot for a Naruto game. And I'm not going to say, oh, most of these characters needed to be in the base game, because I do think that, but at the same time, you need time to program these characters. I'm not mad, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there are some repeats. Naruto has 5 different characters, Boruto has 3, Minato has 2. Like, there's a lot of double dipping. And honestly, charge that to the game, because Xenoverse has an absurd amount of double dipping. But unlike Xenoverse, that's all you get. Just the character and their ninjutsus. Granted, you can use the characters in the different game modes if you unlock them, so basically you're just paying for the ninjutsu. But there's no new VR missions, no new maps, just clothes and ninjutsu. Like, Xenoverse had it down to a science. Like, you buy the DLC characters, clothes, and abilities, but then you have to go into parallel quests in order for you to unlock them. In the bare minimum, they have like 3 new voice lines per mission. Like, oh, what are you doing here, Gogeta? And as simple as that is, it adds a lot, unfortunately. And I think to compare this to Xenoverse is fair because it's essentially the exact same game with a different coat of paint. But there's so many things missing from this experience that would have made this game a whole lot better. I think for one, a story mode would have been a start. It's not like they couldn't craft something out of nothing. If the series creators didn't want to mess with the integrity of the series lore, they can just make everything run through the VR ninja nonsense. Oh, you're the chosen ninja hero that needs to go in and correct these events! Like, it's not that hard. The lobby is another thing. I think I said there's no difference in between the lobby and the beta and the full release. I think part of the fun in Xenoverse is going around Kanton City and finding NPCs to talk to, finding little items, and being able to experience this new Dragon Ball area. And it's crazy because we've gotten games where we were able to explore the Leaf Village, and not just the Leaf Village, the Sand and the Cloud Villages too. And you can't even tell me that they weren't trying to go for that vibe, because the NPCs are scattered around the lobby, but they truly don't do anything. When you go back and look at this game, especially when you look at what Bandai was able to master 2 years prior, it really makes you think, was this game worth buying? And most of you would probably say no, but this is where I have to disagree. I think that this is one of the most fun Naruto games. It's so different from the regular arena fighter format, and I can appreciate the change in scenery. I remember this game was still getting trailers, and people I talked to often had their own image of the game. And they would often say which village they'd be from, which village they would reside in, but they didn't say anything about that in the trailers. This wasn't some dream MMO where you get to make your dream ninja life. And the trailers show exactly what we were given. Of course, this game has the biggest case of being malnourished, but at the same time, this game is extremely fun. Like, the movement in this game is actually insane. Okay, it's no open world game, but it really makes you feel like you're being a ninja. And for most people, that's enough. The customization options are pretty good. I feel like no 2 outfits are the same. Unless you're copying another character. That's crazy glazing. Like, you waited all this time to make a character in Naruto to make Naruto or name yourself all you do? That's insane. This game had the potential to be one of the greatest multiplayer Naruto games of all time. Mechanically, there's a lot of good. Yes, there's jank and balancing issues, but what game doesn't have that? I think that this game, although unintentionally, shot itself in the foot. Like I said, this game has a ton of good qualities, but there are so many things that this game should have had, and it would have kept the game alive longer. Is Naruto the Boruto Shinobi Striker as bad as people think? I think this game deserves the bad rap it gets, but at the same time, it will always have a soft spot in my heart. I think you should give this game another try if you bought it, and see how you really feel about the game without the extremely high expectations you may have had on release. So, no. But damn, this game has some long ass load times.